You guys wanted to see the radio show in action, so here's what we're gonna do. You're getting the inside scoop. The pauses and everything you guys are gonna hear, the people on the radio are not. Because I want to keep it good. I want to keep it clear. I want to look good. And I don't like exactly how this is sitting, so I'm going to aim it a little bit more. Man, why do I still got those little eye things? Like, and then of course you turn up, like, boom, you can see what I'm thinking. Like, Lord have mercy, I sunburn. Alright, so we're going to be jumping into this bad boy, and you're going to see how I roll it. In fact, you know what? I'm going to pause this and I'm going to get a drink of coffee. That's why I'm always drinking hot things, is because of allergies. So I'm going to get a drink of coffee. I'll be right back. You know, I just looked at my computer memory. I just got a fresh cup of coffee. So, here's to ya. And that's hot. That's what my throat needs. So I keep looking at myself underneath the camera. Seriously. I go through coffee like a fat kid goes through underwear. Alright, so let's get moving on this. By the way, if you think I can't tell fat jokes, that's because I used to be roly-poly. True story. Alright, so let's crack this out, because y'all gotta enjoy my baby blues, right? I gotta have some feature to balance me out. One more. It's hot enough to burn my mouth, so hopefully it's hot enough to help my throat. And I've got some honey in there, local. And then of course I've got some Italian sweet cream creamer. Lactose free is the way to be. Alright, so let's get to it with Psych Talk. Good morning, this is Psych Talk, where we talk about psychology and then some. I'm Sean Hupo, your host, and today, as promised, we are going to be talking about music. How does music influence us? How does sound influence us? But what makes music so special? Why is that like a hallmark of every single culture out there? There isn't a single culture that exists without music. Why? I mean, you got the serious cultures too. I mean, Russia, they got music. I mean, yeah, they got music. It's they got a weird way of dancing. Like they, we'll go into cultural influence onto behavioral expression, because that's fascinating as heck. I mean, when you start studying the Japanese and the Chinese with the high context, and then you go to Koreans, and that's a little bit closer to, I guess you might say Plauen or Islander or Caribbean in their mannerism and just how they look at things, how they look at life. And then you got Russia. Yeah, Russia is a unique one. Every stereotype that you've heard is probably true. Like, to be perfectly honest, I've never met a weak Russian. Never in my life. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're going to lighten this up because we've been a little bit rough, and the next episode we are going to be touching into trauma and defining what trauma is. So for now, we're going to take it a little bit easier and go with some music. So first off, let's look at the physiological effects of music. But we're going to look at the negative side first. Why? Because we just want to knock that the heck out the way. Am I right? Am I right? So, I'll tell you a fun story. There was a haunted house that was literally making people sick. But it wasn't a haunted house, it was an apartment complex. So this was back, I believe, in the 1950s, 1954 if memory serves. And there were people getting sick. Just all of a sudden, people got sick. And nobody could figure it out. Nobody could stay in that building because everybody was just getting sick. And they called the medical people. They called 911. And then they called in a priest. And you know what? Not even the priest could exorcise that demon. Because it wasn't a demon. It was in the ventilation system, as one of the intakes, there was a fan that was broken. And it was still turning, but it was making a sound throughout all of the ducts and throughout all of the building at 5 hertz. See, music's playful, but when you get into the whole concept of, Like sonic weapons. Sonic weapons are banned. And there's a good reason they're banned. Because 5 hertz, yeah, it made it hurt. Like even that priest was like, you know what? I lost my faith. I can't do nothing. It was I'm sure it was a unique experience back then before they really understood. But then they found the fan. They gauged it down to 5 hertz, and it was just one of those where, okay, we know that sound can hurt people. Now, militarized sound weapons, I mean, they can literally blow your skin off. But then you've got the fun sound. So, straight up, hashtag choir boy for life, always will be. I love music. In fact, the only reason I haven't been doing the multi-part songs that I've been wanting to do for home free and voice play is because, well, frankly, I love coffee too much and it hurts my voice. Like it doesn't allow my voice the flexibility and freedom that it needs to be able to hit multiple octaves. Okay, I have had a 4-octave voice before. I mean, I could hit whistle notes back in my teenage years, and I could still do the low bass rumble. Maybe lock them doors and turn them lights down low. And you know what's good with that? Some music. That's right, we're gonna sing something. Not today, though. The reason we love music so much, it's the resonance. So believe it or not, you know how The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy talks about, oh, yes, it's 42, I'm quite sure. You know, the meaning of the universe, the answer to everything. 42, or 43, or whatever the heck it was. Nobody cares. But we actually do have a frequency that is a vibrational frequency. I believe it's 432 hertz. That is like scientifically pronounced as the frequency, like the universe's frequency, period. And that's also where good music comes from. Like that's how music is naturally or used to be played. But 432 hertz resonates with our chemistry, because let's look at the inverse of that. Okay, one of my favorite mezzo sopranos is Julie Andrews, and my favorite movie. It's not The Sound of Music. It's not, you know, that chim chimney chim chimney chim chim chiroo. I mean, it's catchy, you know what I mean? And it's not. Let's see, Sound of Music, and then Mary Poppins. There we go. I was hunting for that name. I was hunting for it. All right, but it wasn't either one of those. It was Victor Victoria. Now you can remember that name and look it up, because we might actually have some kids in the car, you know, making their way to school or whatnot, because, you know, thank God people are starting to wear masks and get vaccinated. Which, by the way, get vaccinated. I work for the state, and you have no idea how much the Department of Human Services is pushing for, you know, getting people vaccinated, getting people good. And Oregon is doing a phenomenal job when it comes to vaccinations. So I'm just throwing it out there. We're making it more and more accessible for you. So please take advantage of this. Set an appointment with your doctor or your provider, but get vaccinated, okay? The Moderna vaccine, that's safe. The Pfizer vaccine is safe. J&J is safe. So go ahead and get yourself a vaccine, because not being vaccinated makes other people vulnerable, meaning people with lowered immune systems and all of that, compromised immune systems. I personally care about many people that are in the at-risk category. And there's one that, I mean, if she got sick, she wouldn't make it. So just please wear your mask if you're not vaccinated, show some heart, show some character, and show that you really do love both your country and this beautiful state that people, so many people come back to Oregon. And that's a beautiful thing. Because the hills are alive. And we're talking about the sound of music. And then we're talking about her later career in Victor Victoria. Y'all gotta check out that movie though. Victor Victoria is awesome. And I'm not, see, I can't even sing the songs for you, but I know all of them by heart. And it's a very, very fun movie, but again, it's not for kids. It is definitely not for kids, but it is so fun. Now, in that movie, Julie Andrews, what she does is she shows off her mezzo-soprano, and she breaks glass. She hits a very specific frequency that glass is made of. Now, Now keep that in mind, okay? Keep in mind that certain frequencies do certain things to certain things. Because we got the 5 hertz, like 5 hertz hurts. And then you got the 432 hertz, which is like the balancer of all the universe, according to actual scientists. Okay? Don't believe me? Look it up. 432 hertz music. Google that stuff. Test me on my knowledge. Because let's be real. Number one, I shoot this straight. If I step away, it's because I'm going to cough or something like that. Or cover. Oh, I love that stuff. Plus, it keeps my throat clear. But it makes it horrible to sing. And I was trying to sing today, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I want to get something out. You see, right now I want to sing, but I know I should be protecting my voice. Because tomorrow I'm going to be singing bass all the way to tenor. And that's the thing, is music, singing has an effect. So first let's talk about structure real quick, and then we're going to get into the feel of music. Like what makes it so good to me? If it feels good to me, it must be good to me, right? All right, so let's look at okay, so sonic weapons. Okay, we already know that sound can, now wind itself can blow your skin off. That's why an explosion right next to you, like C4, that's a concussive, that's expansion. It's not a burning explosion. And so you get some C4 going off right beside you, your skin's flying first and then your bones. So, and it's concussive force is rough. But sound can be that way too. Sound can cut. Like actually cut. Believe it or not. But sound can also make us feel good. They did an experiment. In fact, there were a few experiments. We'll start with the one with water because that's on the esoteric side, and it's still bordering on the pseudoscience side. So, what did they do with water? Well, they were starting to freeze water, and then they started speaking to it. And when they spoke to it negatively, the water was discombobulated. And then when they started speaking to it pleasantly, saying complimentary things, it started to form just solid geometric crystals. And I swear I'm getting to a point with this, alright? Certain sounds make us better, or at least make us homeostatic. Homeostatic means, like, that's just your body in a good sync, feeling good about itself, doing its good thing, But when we're out of sync, that's when we start to feel a general sense of malaise. And that's what was described when those people living in that apartment complex were attacked by the demon, the 5 hertz demon. So different frequencies can harm us, and different frequencies can make us feel better. But what about listening to music? Like just listening to music. Let's say it's at 432 hertz, which it should be. So we're listening to music. What makes it dance for us? Because we got this rhythm. Like it makes you want to move when you hear something a little upbeat, right? But then you hear those slow songs like 3 Wooden Crosses, and you're just, by the end of the song, you feel better by the end of the song, but at the same time, you kind of feel morose about it. Music can touch us, and it's not just the sound. Let's say we take away all of the lyrics, right? Let's go Gregorian Chant, all right? So the Gregorian Chant, Gregor monks, they do this hymn that doesn't have any words, but it resonates. And when I say choir boy for life, there is a reason for it. There's what's called a perfect note. Now, a perfect note, that's something that just, when you make it, and when you feel it around you, when you feel that vibration, it feels like home. It's hard to describe. It's when people are perfectly in sync. So for example, we had this with my junior high choir. No joke, we took 2nd in Canada Nationals, Spanaway Junior High. And man, it was cool. But we used to hit perfect notes on a regular basis. And we did that at the Canada Nationals. It was outstanding with the acoustics that were just vibrating all that sound. It's all vibration, right? Oh, I didn't even tell you about the sand. I'll get back to that in a second. Let me touch Lagerquist Hall and those cathedrals in Canada. You better believe, like, I do not regret taking second in Canada Nationals. Not at all, in any way, shape, or form. Because they also, if you look at their music programs and whatnot, they're pretty accomplished up there. I'm here to tell you, I heard the other choirs like, but then again, it was awesome to hear one of the people recording our choir say, "There's no way a junior high choir should sound like that." The other ones got us on technique, but we got them on sound and resonance and hitting those perfect notes with the low bass rumble. Let me tell you something. And I'm actually a baritone bass myself. And when you feel those vibrations underneath you, all around you, because vibrations, they go up and down, right? Well, imagine a choir of almost 30 young men singing to where all of the vibrations are working in tandem. They're not working against each other, they're working with each other. And that's the beauty of a perfect note. It's when every single person is in sync, melodically, technically. I mean, it's a vibration and a feeling that just feels free. It feels like going home to me. That's the best explanation I got for you. But the vibration is just, it's absolutely insane. You know what's funny is I'm a natural baritone bass, but I don't hear bass too much anymore. That's because I had a headset and I was in 4th grade and I loved DMX. Which, by the way, rest in, he's the one person, like, you know how it's kind of like reaction, like, "Hi, how you doing? Hi." And then you just keep on walking like, who was that guy? But with X, it was something different. It was genuinely something different to me, because one thing I will say about him is, I mean, some of you may know this, some of you may not. I do have a background in the church, and I've been behind the pulpit of many churches, and in every one of those churches, I was the piece of salt in the pepper shaker. I was the minority by far. But the Kojic church has always felt like home to me. And, man, the beats and the sounds of the choir and just the band, it's amazing how even staccato notes, that those are the quick ones, like, "Never knew how much I loved you, never knew how much I cared." Like, instead of carrying the notes, you cut them off. And even when that band was playing staccato notes on the guitar and on, man, I don't know if you've heard like that, those old school church organs played right, but I mean, you're just looking at those hands moving up and down. It's like, okay, I'm feeling the spirit right now. And I mean, you don't have to be religious to enjoy that music. In fact, I very much enjoy a classically performed "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" and "Go Down, Moses." Go down, Moses. See, I'm trying to keep it really, really low because my voice projects. And you'll find that about people who sing is they can't go without music. They can't go without singing. It just doesn't feel right when you don't. To go a week without singing, it seems completely foreign to me. But let's go into singing. Because lyrics, we already know if the lyrics are going to touch us or not. But what about lilts? You know, one of the things that stood out to me the most about Michael Jackson was he always had that, it felt like there was something ready to come out, but he was holding it back. I don't know, it was like a constant anticipation of what's going to come next. And then you finally get to the final chorus and it's just like, yeah, I'm free now. There was that build-up, that suspense. Gosh, I almost want to play him right now, but I know I can't because, you know, royalties and all that good stuff, but... and I can't get any songs in my head. Like, I'm trying to look for what it is about him that does that hesitance, like whether it's dancing or whatnot. It's like you know he can throw more at it, but he doesn't. And that keeps us in suspense. You can play with music all day long, up and down, left and right. And when you're playing with music, I mean, it's psychologically, we naturally like to be around good vibrations. Okay, you ever walked into a room and you just heard a good bass, like a club or whatnot, or a bar, or maybe you're walking through school and you hear like a band in the background with a guitar or whatnot, and it feels right. There's a reason rhythm feels right. We are a balanced people. In fact, I'm going to go into the sand because I told you about the water, how it like, froze differently, and some of you are like, oh, this guy's off the deep end. But no, here's one that science does back. You see, if you take speakers, let's say you take a speaker and you put dirt on it. When you start adjusting the frequency, the way that the waves from the sound are bouncing off of the matter, the dirt that's on top of that speaker, it ends up causing it to form geometric shapes. There's symmetry, there's balance to music, and to how music and sound influences us. And there have been sonic therapies even that, think about it this way. In fact, I think I got this one. Music is massaging your brain. It really is. Because when you walk out of a good concert performed beautifully, I mean, it does something to you. You feel lighter. You feel lifted up. And that's an important factor when it comes to, well, just living. But it's a very, very important factor to be able to communicate with others and to feel vibration. Because I'll give you another one, neurolinguistic programming. I've already confessed to, having used it in the past. But when you're talking in a carried note tone, you're carrying on the vibrations, and you bring somebody down to your level. And by keeping the conversation going and by keeping the lilts coming, the up and down, if you do that occasionally, it throws people off mentally, but it also entraps them, it pulls them in. The same way that you can walk down the road and you can hear this beautiful music, right? Or you can hear this jam, or you can hear this beat, and you're just like, okay, that works for me. Hi, how you doing? Like, and then you just start swaying with the beat. It makes all the difference in how we turn out. Follow me on this. Okay, I got something for you. So vibrations, yeah, we've seen them alter matter. Vibrations directly impact the synchronicity of freezing and the synchronicity of like sand on a speaker. But what about in the womb? That's been researched into. And babies that hear music in the womb, I think there was a study done in, gosh, that had to have been over a decade ago. But babies in the womb that heard music while they were in the womb tended to be more musical. They used to dance a little bit more. They used to keep rhythm a little bit more. They used to be vocal. And I believe there was also a correlation between hearing music in the womb and confidence. On the same token, music is different than yelling. And it was indeterminate as to whether yelling had an impact on the mother, which ultimately had an impact on the child, or if it directly impacted the child. Same thing with music. Like, that was the argument that kind of died that whole study down. But the end-all be-all is vibrations, they matter to us. For example, have you ever had a cat on your lap that you're just petting and then they start purring? It actually kind of feels good in a way. Like, not in a weird way, like get your mind out the gutter, but It actually feels good in a certain way. Like, and I haven't fully placed that emotionally on my behalf because I can't speak for anybody else. But for me, it feels good. But it's partly the gratification of I like to make other people and other beings, so animals, dogs, cats, you name it, I like to make them feel better. I try to walk away from every encounter with the other person feeling better having met me. And I don't always succeed. Not by a long shot. Not even close to a long shot. I need more coffee. But every sound has a purpose. Okay, we have 18 and 1 different ways that we can communicate as human beings. But then we make sound and we communicate through words. And yeah, it's a little bit more convenient than, sign language. It frees up our hands so that we can grab stuff and do stuff. But why do we sing? Why do we carry notes? Carrying notes is unnatural. What I mean by that is you don't hear notes really carried by animals, do you? In fact, it's almost foreign because it doesn't make sense for animals to carry notes like we do, like humans do. It doesn't make any sense. It plays no part in survival. In fact, it's probably going to get them killed. Or warn their prey that, hey, I'm coming. Oh, I'm coming. Bad boys, what you gonna... And it's like, no, that's not how nature works. Nature works under epigenetics. And epigenetics is, I guess they'll call it a diverse selection of new genes and adoption of old genes that worked. And we still don't fully understand genetics. I mean, we're basically playing God when we don't even know what God's name is, if we're being real. So the field of genetics is still relatively new. We have stuff that we call junk DNA that we haven't transcribed or identified yet. And there's so much behavioral DNA that's not being touched. Like, it hasn't been classified or any of that stuff. So, sorry, I had to take a drink right there. We've got all this DNA, but did you know that DNA is also altered by music? It's altered by sound. True story, it can be. Now, is it altered by all sound? No. The same way that the same way that the sand moves on the speaker to form geometric shapes, in the same way that if you hit that right frequency, you can shatter glass. Well, our bodies operate the same way. Let's say we're surrounded by something that's off pulse. Let's work the esoteric version. So we've got 432 hertz. And this 432 hertz, what if we start operating on 430? If you know anything about frequencies, that's going to be a little bit off. Like, if you put those two sounds together, one's going to sound really off and it's going to sound really awkward, and that's the 430. I've done this. Like, I've actually tried this, and I encourage you to try it too. Just look up something 430 hertz and then 432. Those 2 hertz make all the difference. But when you have those two things side by side, you're playing 430 and 432, you're going to get this up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And what that does is it creates less than synchronicity in the vibration that carries through our bodies, everything around our bodies, and so on. Because our bodies are made up of water. And that's why I mentioned the freezing water before. How when you freeze it and you're talking to it negatively, it kind of freezes discombobulated. And keep in mind, this was not a controlled study. That's why I say it's esoteric. It was not a controlled study, not by any means. Could it be reproduced? Probably. But, for example, we don't know what's in the water, like what the chemical makeup of that water is. Is it just pure H2O? Is it H2O from New York? And then somewhere in the middle of that, you got this little amoeba floating around. Like, we don't know. And that was something that wasn't taken into account in that study, which I think is unfortunate, because that would have been something really cool to explore. But we've got this music, and music vibrates to us. And that's why certain sounds and certain chords and that perfect note just, it resonates. It feels good. It really does. And if you don't believe me, go to a, man, if you go up to Lagerquist Hall, that has some amazing acoustics. That's over in, that's in Parkland, Washington, just outside Spanaway. It's a suburb of Tacoma. And I lived there. In fact, that's where I went to high school, was Spanaway Junior High and Spanaway Lake High School. And Lagerquist Hall was where we went. It was at Pacific Lutheran University. It's their concert hall with one of the biggest pipe organs I have ever seen in person. I want to play that so bad. You have no idea. And of course, I'd be playing that Phantom of the Opera stuff. Like, I would be having some fun with it. And then Mario Brothers are afterwards, just because I'm sure there's an old person like around there that would just be offended by it. And I love music so much that I'll play with it. But let's talk about singing. So singing has a wonderful effect on the body. When I graduated high school, I had a lung capacity of about 115% normal. That's because I was singing for years. And you develop muscle control, diaphragm control. You develop all sorts of these wonderful muscle configurations to allow you to sing better. And if I'm sure some of you are singing on your way to work right now, or at least you were up until I started talking. Well, you're probably singing over me too. Like, oh my gosh, can I shut this guy up? I get you, I'm with you, okay? I don't sound the greatest either, I get you. But singing is wonderful exercise, and it is exhausting exercise. And it's a lot like Kung Fu, because I know I mentioned martial arts before, and I'm kind of big into martial arts. Like, just more for the sport and for the art of it. I'm not really into it for the whole, okay, I'm gonna get a little bit, I'm not into it necessarily for the conflict. I like the challenge. You better believe I like the challenge. Like, Wow, I've already used 5 gigabytes of data for 30 minutes. That's fun. See, this is the first time I'm actually recording in 1080p. If you want to catch me on YouTube, my handle is Autistic Commando. That's right, I'm not shy about it, you better believe. But singing has a multitude of benefits. But then again, when you start practicing it truly, like when you're classically trained, that is a completely different animal altogether. So anybody can sing, you know, and just toss a little ditty out. But when you get classically trained, you fix your posture. You bring your diaphragm forward. You learn to slightly bend your knees so that you don't pass out from lack of blood circulation. You learn how to compensate for what you naturally lack musically. But then once you get into it, and you start hitting those notes and you feel those vibrations, part of which you're making, you're a part of that. You feel it on the inside, you can feel it in your bones. And if you hit a perfect note by yourself, like, that's the reason why we love to sing in the shower, okay? The sounds are bouncing all over and whatnot, and you're basically harmonizing with yourself. So it sounds a little bit better. And it's also a lot of fun not to have people looking over your shoulder giving you advice and all that other good stuff. I mean, come on, let's be real. We want to have a little bit of freedom, right? So as far as, you know, being able to sing for yourself, being able to sing with yourself, it is a great, great exercise. And the more you find it, the better you feel about it. And that's just me speaking on this one, but if I lost my voice tomorrow, I don't know what I would do with the rest of my life. And I'm dead serious about that. Like, I know how to play the piano and the keyboard and all that, and I'm learning guitar. Mostly because I like to make people swoon with it. That's why I got into singing in the first place. Like, hey, I need an elective and choir, and oh yeah, there's this guy named Joe that sings things. Oh, and I mentioned DMX a little bit earlier. I want to finish that thought. DMX is about the only musician that would pass away that I would never feel the need to say rest in peace. There was a prayer on every album. And the man was loved by all of his children, and he loved all of his children. DMX, I was very privileged to see the rap battle between him and Snoop Dogg, which we've all been waiting for like any fan of both of them. We've been waiting for it. We've been waiting. And X just passed away this year. And I think that rap battle is going to be an annual celebration for me. And it's a celebration. We lost somebody special who knew how to lay it down on some beats. I mean, X gonna give it to you. Like, you got to get into it. If you're into hip hop and all of that, but I wanted to get that honorable shout out before I forgot about it. Because autistic. But when you sing, when you are a performer, I mean, it's invigorating. It really makes you want to do it more. Like, the better you get at it. I think the biggest critique that we have as a society is we like to critique things. We like to nitpick. We like to, dive into the dugout. And that's not always the greatest situation for the person performing. It's the reason why I hid from my parents. Like, I could sing I could sing at that time 3.5 octaves. Just about 3.5 octaves when they caught me singing outside. Because I've been training for years. But I didn't want the criticism. And you'll find that with autists, we tend to be disappointments to our parents because we're different. And we're just that way naturally. Like, there's no disability or nothing like that. It's just people are like, wait, you're acting weird. I don't understand it. Do what I say. And then you do that applied behavioral analysis stuff that we just talked about. Or, like in the last episode, if you didn't catch it, applied behavioral analysis, that's basically where you say, you act different, change, so I can feel better about myself. That's basically what it is, and it's a flawed system. It's a flawed theory, and it was developed in the early 1900s. Okay, outdated doesn't begin to start with it. But when it comes to music and being able to sing, it's one of those things where, like any other exercise, you get better with time, you get more confident with time, and ultimately, you feel better about yourself. And how to say this? There's something more. It's like a release. Let's say you're going through the hard times. Sometimes singing is a release. Singing is also a social activity. Like, while some people can put you down, there are other people that can harmonize with you. There are other people that can sing other parts or sing right alongside you, or sing with a song. Because maybe you're both amateurs, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Go on, enjoy yourself. I mean, that's what the shower was for. I'm dead serious. Like, anybody could take a bath, but once you get in the shower with all that little linoleum or ceramic around you and whatnot, like, it does resonate. And that's why it feels so good. You get to harmonize with yourself. But what makes it feel good? It's the vibration. The vibration of singing is what makes singing worth it. And like martial arts, there's a lot of training that goes into being able to do it well. I've been vocal about this before, I believe in the first episode, but Nicole Scherzinger, she is my professional lady crush. Like, I'm not like crushing. Like, don't get me wrong, if the opportunity was presented, she would definitely have an incredible date with an incredible dinner and all that good stuff, and then we'd finish with karaoke. Or whatever she wanted to do, Like, that's... But beyond the looks and beyond being... She is a extraordinary vocalist. She is absolutely sublime at times. Like, there are times when she's acting and anybody would have a hard time maintaining perfect pitch, tone, and cadence. But then you hear her actually really go all out, like Phantom of the Opera. Let me tell you something. Okay, complete lady crush. The only other person that I think beat her was actually Emmy Rossum in Phantom of the Opera, the movie. Like, the fact that I know her name, oh yeah. She plays in Shameless now, but if you heard the pipes on that lady from Phantom of the Opera, I prefer her version over the operatic versions. In fact, I really don't like the operatic versions. I think there's too much pomp in it. And some people can throw a little bit too much into it, like when you're singing. Yeah, it feels good, but at the same time, there are times when it doesn't feel good. And when it doesn't feel good, it usually doesn't sound good. And that's just my experience talking here, but when it doesn't feel good to you, it usually doesn't sound good to literally everybody else listening. And how do I say this? Basically, the better the vibration feels, the more natural it is. There's a reason we have notes. And if you go in between those notes, it doesn't quite sound right. It sounds off. I mean, you can have flats, you can have sharps, like, C sharp or B flat. Yeah, you could totally have those. Those are legitimate notes. But you also have the scale, and you don't have things in between the scale. Now, it's fully reachable. I guarantee every one of you listening has heard somebody slide up and down. Oh, I mean, I just hit a crap ton of notes right there. I hit notes in between notes. But there's a reason we stick to the notes that we have. And there's a reason that we love chords. Like, I guarantee you, like, any one of you out there, like, I don't know anybody that doesn't like music. They like beat. Now, beat is another thing. We're going to get into that in a second. In fact, that's how we're going to close this show, I think. But you've got beat, you've got vibration and flow, you've got cadence. And then you've also got what makes it appeal to me, and people like me, is the technical side. Because, again, functionally autistic, and part of the reason I love Kung Fu and martial arts is because it's so technical. And I'm such a technical person. You better believe it. And every art that I do, I throw technique into it. I think I've mentioned the show Baki on Netflix before, but Dopo Orochi, he was a karate professional in that show, which is highly dramatized. Like, all of it's based on fact, but at the same time, it's just like super stretched. And Dopo Orochi, he was talking about aesthetics and how aesthetics matter. That's absolutely true. Aesthetics refers to technique, okay? It's not being showy. Being showy is showboating, okay? That's not aesthetics. Aesthetics are technique. And so when you're singing, you've got certain techniques that you can hone. In martial arts, you've got techniques that you can hone. From posture to form to execution, breathing techniques. It all boils down to the same, which is control of the human body. And when you can control the human body from a musical standpoint, it feels good. People play instruments because music feels good. It's the vibrations. And the vibrations resonating with you. And those vibrations, when they're off, like, 5 hertz, they can hurt you. Oh my gosh, is he tying this whole show together? Like, oh. Yeah, you're going to be hearing that, and I'm going to get a little bit of attitude about it because I've got to talk for an hour. Okay? I don't know if you ever tried that, but, I mean, the only other time I had to do that was when I saved a relationship, my own. So, and that was years ago. Singing makes all the difference with our physiology. When you're singing, it forces you to go breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. It forces circulation throughout your body. It's good to you, and if it feels good to you, it's probably good for you. Singing will definitely extend your life. That much I will tell you certainly. Like, I can promise that. Singing can extend your life. Well, of course, if you sing bad in the wrong place, Hey, who's choking the cat? Bam! Get off our lawn. Yeah, in the wrong place, probably don't want to sing. Just, like, it'd be weird if you walked into the bathroom. Actually, I've done this before. Okay, so follow me on this. When you walk into the bathroom, and you're just laying it out there, it's like, I was born by the river. And then you walk up next to a guy. How do you respond to that? Like, that's just fun. Like, there's that awkward moment. And I swear, there was one time when, like, there was I'm not even gonna get into that, but it's fun to throw people off. At least for me. I like to throw people off. Because I think that we take life too seriously. But the one thing you can never take too seriously is music. I think that when you push yourself into something, not only are you physically building up your body, and you're building up your core. Because your core matters every bit when it comes to singing. Because you got your diaphragm, it's got to open up, and it's got to be strong, and it's got to be stable. To hold a note, that requires a lot of muscle control. You can't just do that overnight like bam. But then you go into those vibrations, and vibrations on the right key, in the right harmony, they just feel right. And if they're slightly off, well, we've already seen what 5 hertz can do. 432 hertz, that's not too far off from 5 hertz. 430 hertz. I mean, you've already moved 2 hertz, and that's what most of the music playing on YouTube is. It's not 432, it's 430. Now do some looking up on that, and seriously, Google it. 432 hertz versus 430. HZ is for hertz. And hertz, what that represents is frequency. What is frequency? How many times does the sound pump? Because sound and vibration, it has to go up and down. Okay, vibration is one of those weird things, like, I don't think we fully understand the physics of vibration. I don't think we fully understand the core mechanics of it. But that's just my opinion. You know, maybe it's my autistic brain going off, or maybe it's my autistic brain thinking of something. But ultimately, singing just feels good on every sense. And it doesn't always feel good when you're not good at it, but you can always work yourself up, and you can always be better. And I strongly, firmly, fervently believe in building somebody up. I very much believe that we all have the ability to better ourselves. And I've said this, I think I said this in the last episode, but it's the prerogative of the parent to make the way for the child, to give the child their best chance to be better. And it's the prerogative of the child to be better. You see, I'm a humanitarian. I believe in being better. I believe in improving oneself. But I also know that sometimes you need mental nourishment. And that's what music is for so many people in so many ways. And I find it wonderfully amazing that we have this ability to make sounds that nothing else can make, that can vibrate in a way that no other animal can really vibrate. I mean, you got a few birds, but they can't carry a tune. They can manipulate their vocal cords, and that's it. Yeah, Polly want a cracker? I want to sing about crackers. I'm not going to sing about crackers because I'm not that corny. But you get the idea, though. We have the ability to do things that no other animals can do on this earth. And we have the ability to appreciate it, too. We get the ability to practice it for fun. And to sing it for fun, and to sing it in groups together, and to dance with music. Oh my gosh, the vibrations from dancing. Oh, I love salsa music. You have no idea. Salsa, merengue, cha-cha. I love all those dances. And done right, I mean, there's so much capability, if you will. See, I kind of don't want to show off my range on radio, but I have several octaves under my belt. And I can go deep, and I can go high. I can go falsetto. I can't do a whistle anymore. I really, really tried. I really, really wish I could. I can't really do it. There. Took a quick second just to take a drink and just a little bit of a breather because, you know, talking for an hour, it's talking for an hour. Plus, I had a long day. But what about the different styles of music, right? Because I like merengue, I like salsa, but I like a Gregorian chant too. And I really don't like country music. I like the stories, I don't like the twang. But then again, I'm classically trained, so it's a little bit hard for me to absorb. You know what I mean? It's not the easiest thing for somebody to be trained in a certain way and not be able to do things that way. I'm trying to. There are some songs that are good, like you heard me singing it a little bit earlier. Baby, lock them doors and turn them lights down low. Play some music on it soft and slow. Okay, that's alright. Three wooden crosses, that's alright. Honky Tonk Badonkadonk was actually really fun. But why do we have country music? Why do we have these different types of music? Like, that doesn't make sense. We've got vibrations. Vibrations feel good. Why create so much stuff? It's intrinsic to human beings to want to create, to want to grow, to want to build. It's intrinsic to us. When we're kids, we want to know how things work because maybe we thought about doing it ourselves. See, I just remembered something. But I wanted to build a time machine. You see, nobody ever really knew why, but when I was living at Christ Lutheran in the parsonage, there was a man that was shot there when I was about 3.5 years old, maybe 4. And then when I was about 4.5, that's when I was trying to put a box together. I drew the control panel and all of that, but then I realized, okay, I need to know how machines work to build a time machine. And nobody knew I was looking to go back to see if I could stop the police officers. True story, true story. When I say I care about people, you have no idea. None. In fact, I still work on time physics here and there. But it's more of a hobby now. I know that's, you know, that's a whole different story there. But, wow, I just lost my train of thought here. But let me tell you something about, I'm going to tell you a story about me. And this is a true and verifiable story by at least 1,300 students. So, it's 8th grade. No, 9th grade. Yeah, it was 9th grade. And I had been in choir for a year and a half. But every day when I got home, I was singing. Oh, now I remember what I was talking about. Different types of music. But we'll get to that in a second. This is actually a really good story. So, this is my moment to shine. I was that awkward, autistic kid. I didn't know how to blend in with all of you and hide in plain sight like I do now. And so you should have heard the crowd. I was started off a couple notes too high, just slightly out of my range. But I got up there and I remember Mr. Williams mouthing to me, "Just do it." And I got up there and I was killing it. I was throwing flavor, soul, but then I hit Rocket's Red Glare. When they announced my name, you heard gasps around the entire crowd. Like, no joke, you could hear gasps from around the room. Because I was that awkward and that well known. You either loved me or you hated me. Ask anybody from Spanaway Junior High or Spanaway Lake, you either loved me or you hated me. There was no in between. I've never encountered it. So I get up there and I crack on Rocket's Red Glare. And then I cuss into the mic because I'm falling into myself. I'm autistic, right? So I cuss into the mic, then I look up and the vice principal and principal are looking at each other like they're about to come up and get me. So I finish up the song in falsetto. The next day, because I was a little bit thuggish back then, I was a little bit lost, and my buddy who was teaching me how to blend in with people, he happened to be, happened to come from a family of, well, I'll say Paru. All right. The Piru, Paru. If you know what that is, cool. If you don't, it ain't worth it. But yeah, there was another side. There was an opposition. And sure enough, they knew I was, trying to, they knew I was trying to fit in. And they knew where I was trying to fit in because of my buddy and his family. I was outside of the choir room the next day, tail tucked between my legs, trying to avoid people because I had to go to class after embarrassing myself in front of 1,300 students during my moment to shine. Holy crap! But I never gave up my love of singing. And then I'm in front of the choir room. And there were these three wannabes. I'm gonna call them wannabes because they never got put on. And they were about to jump me. And one of them was saying, "Yeah, I bet you can't sing nothing." Trying to get up, and they were trying to just, pick a fight. And I said, "Yes, I can." I saw my way out of a beatdown by 3 dudes. And I couldn't take them because I was that corny white boy. So I sang my way out of a beatdown in front of the choir room. Oh, Lord have mercy. I gotta take some more coffee. Oh, that's why it's not hot anymore. So let's wrap it up with why we have different types of music. Because I like a Gregorian Chant, I like country and all of that. Yeah, I really don't like country. But I like every other type of music. I know I offended somebody, but don't get me wrong, I still sing country too. The first song that I'm going to be singing 4 parts of, from bass all the way to tenor, is actually from Home Free, which is a country a cappella band. Ooh, knocking my mic over. It's a country a cappella band. And yeah, it's for that song from Brother Where Art Thou. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Wow, I can't remember the name of it. I can remember the band, the Soggy Bottom Boys. I can remember the movie, Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I can't remember the song. Ah, that's killing me. Oh, Man of Constant Sorrow. Yes, that's going to be the first song that I'm going to sing 4 parts to. All the way to the deep bass. But we have all these different types of music because we have a natural need to express ourselves and to create. It's why we have different types of cars. I mean, a car can move. A car can get from A to B, so why go all extra fancy on that stuff? I mean, besides the fact that, when you get into the billionaire status and you didn't earn it yourself, then you're second, third, or later generation, which means you just basically inherited everything. And at that point, you've got insecurities up the wazoo. I have not met the exception. And I've known quite a few. I've walked in every world that you can imagine. And there's music in every world. And the higher class you get, the less music you hear. And the less you hear people understand music. Which is unfortunate. But the different types of music we have are our different way of creating because music comes from a place of emotion. We've become so entranced with it, and I mean, chicken and egg, I don't know which came first, but we are so entranced with music and the emotional ties to music that, I mean, we've got the physiological effects, we've got the physical training effects, the body building and all that good stuff that comes with it. We've got the storytelling aspect. You've got the creativity of different types of tempo and music and rhythm. But there's always going to be an X factor to music. I don't think I'm going to crack it in my lifetime. And I don't know if we're ever fully going to crack it. Well, at some point we will. But I don't think it's going to be in my lifetime. Because music is so unique. It's like laughter or love. Love physiologically can be explained. But the emotion behind it, the willingness for a man to truly try and move the world for the woman of his dreams, and for all those fake stories that are based on real ones, and the real ones of people crossing the entire world for love. That's unexplainable sometimes. Our laughter is unexplainable. Like what causes laughter, humor is not fully explainable. Because when you truly laugh, you make one sound. It's ha ha he or whatever, but it's not ha ha he. You can't, that's forced. But real laughter is just one sound, and it's a misfire in your brain. And love is kind of a misfire in your brain. And anybody that truly loves music, to perform music, they could tell you that you can fall into music. It's a unique experience to truly fall into music, to feel music beyond the vibration. I can't classify it. I've been trying. But every time I try, it falls onto another visage, another reality. And that reality just... there's always more to it. Every time I think I've narrowed it down, there's always something else to it. Just like love, just like laughter, just like joy. Joy is another one where we can't fully explain joy because it's a mixture of morose, nostalgic. It's a mixture of enjoyment and euphoria. Singing can bring every emotion in the book. And it could be just the flow of the music, the vibration of the music that can pull you in. Music has always been a part of humanity. It's been a part of humanity's creation. And we've done some amazing things with music. And sound has physiological effects, good or negative. I mean, take it as you will. And I can personally attest that singing saved my life. As I've mentioned before, I've had a hard life. Never ever doubt that. But in my darkest place, it was singing that brought me out. And that's why some of the best music is sung by people that are going through hard times. We just got through a year of hard times. I'm wishing you guys the absolute best. Get vaccinated. Be safe. Follow me on Twitter at EADORNUS, Adornus, or on YouTube, Autistic Commando. You guys be safe, be well, and I guess I'll catch you next week. Bye. And that was the show. Ooh, and I got room to spare 9 gigabytes. This, just the video recording, 9 gigabytes. I'm sure YouTube's gonna love that. So I'll catch you guys next time, okay?